Well, I just finished Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. This is written in 1992, and I really enjoyed this, and I'm going to tell you why. First thing, just a quick introduction. The reason I know about this book is because I've worked in the Silicon Valley back in 2008 to 2012, and I worked with a lot of guys who were very interested in startup governments and anarcho-capitalism and anarcho-socialism, and they would always talk about this book, and I always wondered why, right? And they kind of talked about Snow Crash like it was a pioneering work in understanding the internet, understanding tech, and anticipating the future of government. I think that's correct in terms of tech, not so correct regarding government, right? But I don't think he was trying to actually predict how government was going to go. But that's actually why I really like this. Now, first of all, I've seen a lot of reviews that say that Snow Crash doesn't really have a plot. Not quite sure what they're talking about. I believe there's a very coherent plot in this. It's about a character whose name is Hero Protagonist. It's this guy. It's funny name, right? He's sort of this like half Korean, half black, military brat kind of, who carries samurai swords around, and he sort of lives in this dystopian United States of America where the only jobs he can really get are like delivery drivers and computer programming. He does both. He's also a swordsman, and he has this friend whose name is YT, and she's also like a skateboard delivery type, right? And there's a whole bunch of, them getting mixed up in the mafia and getting mixed up in these various sort of like gangs that run the United States now that act as these mini governments. It's all privatized, right? It's kind of the idea. And the overarching plot is about, there is a virus going through the metaverse. He actually coined the term metaverse, which is this virtual reality kind of Second Life kind of world, right? Where if you look at the specific bitmap, it causes your brain to sort of melt down and fall back to this ancient kind of babble, like a Sumerian kind of thinking, which makes you more susceptible to certain kinds of programming. And so the book is about Hero and YT sort of uncovering this plan to infect the entire population with this mind virus, both in the metaverse and in reality via this like wire that they've been installing in people's heads. And I don't really want to tell you much more because it's so fun. It was such a fun book. The writing is really ballsy. The action is so well written. There's so many good action scenes in this. It does end a little bit abruptly. I won't tell you what happens exactly, but I really think that that's a small bone to pick. Overall, the whole experience was really fun. This sort of, interpretation of an anarcho-capitalist United States seems pretty accurate, it seems. Although we're nowhere near that. Actually, it seems like we've made, I don't know, some might think that we're going more in that direction, but in a lot of ways, we're also going more in the direction of more centralization. Take that how you will. Some people see this as prophetic. Other people see it as kind of, starry-eyed, or it's a cautionary tale, you could say. Overall, though, I think that this was really fun. I would say I haven't read a whole lot of sci-fi. So far, I've only really gone through a few sci-fi books. The first one I read was Cixin Liu's Three Body Problem series, which I still think is the best one that I've read. To me, this is the best. This is the most fun. And then Asimov's Foundation, which I thought was awful. And I reviewed that in a different video. But anyway, Snow Crash is very fun. Highly recommend it. And now I kind of want to read his other books. An interesting thing about Neil Stephenson is he works in tech. He's pretty active within the tech world. I think that that's just like a good kind of cautionary tale about the dangers of too much reliance on tech. It was fun. That's all I have to say. Hold on. I still have one more thing to say. One more thing. So, there is this interesting linguistic theory that the author has in this book, and it's fun, which says that the Sumerian language, which is not connected linguistically to any language that they know of, and this is the language is pre-Babylonian Sumerian, right? And the idea is that the Tower of Babel is this sort of analogy for when the Sumerian language broke up into a bunch of different languages that were mutually unintelligible, which was a sort of way to prevent people from being hacked by laws, by rules of conduct and things like that. And that there was this character named Enki who managed to break apart all the languages so that your brain couldn't be hacked. Right. And so Snow Crash in the book, spoiler alert, is a mind virus that will, if you're in the metaverse, it will sort of make you more susceptible to a kind of programming. And he ties it in with Pentecostalism and all this. Pretty fun. It's an interesting theory because doesn't seem entirely wrong. Because Sumerian doesn't seem to be connected with ancient languages. Talks about Hebrew being a sort of language that's very resilient against something like Sumerian. I can see what he's talking about. I don't really have like a better theory of languages than that. It's really interesting. That said, I can't imagine it being a conscious decision that, someone like Enki, who was this ancient lawmaker, right, who made the Code of Hammurabi, he didn't make the Code of Hammurabi, but this led to the Code of Hammurabi, sort of purposefully designing the breakup of languages. That seems very far-fetched. I think there are probably better interpretations of the Tower of Babel, but I thought that was kind of fun. It's a pretty fun interpretation. And however far-fetched it may be, I thought it was now I'm done.